Hello everyone and welcome back to another Minecraft video. Today we are going to be doing something a little different than my previous tutorials. This video is a guide on how to get started building medieval and fantasy style roofs. Hopefully this guide will help you start building some really cool builds in your own Minecraft worlds. Also, if you enjoy this video, please consider leaving a like down below. Now, let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go over some of the basic roof shapes that you use in fantasy and medieval style builds. This first set is going to be shapes that you can use for the main part of your builds. For this video, I'm going to mostly be using polished stone so you guys can see exactly which block shapes I'm using to create these builds. The first shape we're going to look at is a simple A-frame roof. This is probably the most common shape used for medieval builds. It's also the base for the other main roof shapes we're going to look at today. So to start this roof, you're going to place a stair and bring that out one block. Then place an upside down stair on the back of that one, full block, stair, upside down stair, full block, stair. Then you're going to repeat that pattern until you hit the peak of the roof, and then just place an upside down stair in the middle. And then the same pattern on the other side. This next shape I like to call the rising A-frame. I'm sure there's another name for it, but that's just what I like to call it. It adds a little more to your simple A-frame roof by creating this nice rising pattern. It's a personal favorite of mine. You're going to start this off similar to your A-frame by placing the stair and bringing it out one block, and an upside down stair. Then you're going to place a stair, upside down stair, full block, stair, upside down stair, 2 blocks, stair, and then your upside down stair in the middle. And then repeat that same pattern on the other side. Now if you have a wider roof than this, as you're going up, just add more full blocks to your full block sections. And if you kind of want to change up the pattern a little bit, you can do like 2 sections of 2 blocks, 2 sections of like 1 block, or 2 sections of 3 blocks. Kind of just fill out the build and see what works best for it. The last shape in the main roof section is the rounded A-frame. This is going to be similar to your A-frame, but the top is going to be a little more round. So you're going to start this off just like your A-frame by putting a stair, stair, upside down stair, full block, stair, upside down stair, full block, stair, and then when you get to the top you're going to do 2 stairs and then put your middle block and repeat on the other side. And for this roof shape you can start the round part anywhere you want on the build, just kind of depends on the look you're going for. This next section of roofs is going to be your accent roofs. These are roofs that you can use for add-ons, sheds, and things like that. The first roof in this section is just your simple gambrel roof, which just uses stairs. And it's just going to go in a stair, upside down stair, stair, upside down stair pattern. The next roof is going to be your slanted roof, which just uses slabs. For this pattern, you're just going to staircase your slabs up the side of your house to create a slanted roof. I am doubling up on the slabs to kind of create a thicker roof here, but you don't have to do that if you need a thinner one. This last pattern creates a nice round shape that's almost a circle. This pattern is going to start a little different by starting with an upside down stair. And then a full block, stair, upside down stair, stair, upside down stair. And then repeat that pattern on the other side. And then when you get to the middle, finish it off with some slabs. Next, we're going to be talking about roof placement. So there's a couple different ways that you can place roofs for medieval style builds, and let's go over those. So the first one is kind of what we've been doing so far, is just bring it one block out from your wall and go straight up. For this next one, we're going to be bringing the roof out at an angle. We will start off the same as the last one, but we will be shifting the roof out by one block each layer at the full block. But you can always change this up by building multiple layers before the shift or changing the block you shift on. And if you'd like, you can always add a slab underneath the full block to make it look a little more fluid. For this final section, we're going to be adding a little more depth to our roof. You're going to start out with your original wall, and then you're going to make another wall diagonal to the first by one block. And that wall will be one block shorter than your original wall. And then proceed the same way as either of the previous shapes for your roof. I'm just going to do the straight one here. This shape gives you a little more depth and also gives you this nice little nook that you can add some hanging lanterns or plants or anything else you want to add for your build. Next, let's talk about filling in your roofs. For this first one here, I just continued the same blocks as the sides, so using full blocks with stairs on top. This gives you a nice smooth finish. This next method is one of my personal favorites, by using only full blocks all the way across, filling in your roof. This just adds a little bit of detail and texture to your roof. Next up for this roof, you're going to bring the main part of your roof down one block. This just adds a little bit more detail than the last one. These last two I really like using. For this first one, you're going to be bringing your roof down the side of your house, creating a nice diagonal line. This last one creates more of a U shape by dipping down in the middle. For these last two roofs, you can make them subtle or super dramatic, depending on the look you're going for. Now, you may be thinking your roof looks a little plain, so let's add some details. One thing you can add to accessorize your roof is windows. Here are a few examples. And now let's take a closer look. For this first one, you're going to start at the base of your roof and bring it up to make room for your window or windows. For these examples, I followed the same pattern as the main house, but you can always change up the pattern for a different look. These next two windows can be started anywhere on your roof. For this one here, you're going to raise the window and walls out of any part of your roof and put a new roof on that will be taken back to the main part. This next one is similar to the last one here, but you're going to start off by extending logs out of your roof and building your window and walls on top of that platform. This one is really small, but you can expand on this and add more windows or maybe a door and balcony. Another thing you can add to your roof is a tower. This can also be added anywhere on your roof or be brought up from the ground. It can be square, round, or even a triangle if you'd like. Whatever works for your build. Let me just fix this window here. You could also add a chimney to your roof. This one is a large basic chimney, but you can change up the shape, size, or the topper. It can be as simple or as detailed as you'd like. Now, sometimes you need some smaller accessories, so let's look at a few of those. Here is a smaller window cutout just using slabs. And a smaller chimney that's just a single block. Here are a couple of examples of some smaller window add-ons to your roof. One thing you could also do is change up the border on the bottom by adding some full blocks or some upside down stairs, maybe some slabs. Just kind of feel it out. Before we get into different roof fill patterns, let's look at this house here. One thing I like to do when I have different branches of a house is vary your roof levels. So this front part here is 1 block lower than the main house. You can make that gap a little bigger if you'd like. This just helps to give your roof a little more depth and look more finished. Now let's get into some roof fill patterns. Now, so far, all of the roofs that we have looked at in this video have had this accent border to help show the different elements. Now, this is something that is totally optional, and here is an example of a roof without that accent. Now let's get into the patterns. For this first one, we're going to texture the main part of our roof with blocks similar to the base block. These accent blocks can be placed randomly over the whole roof. For this next pattern, we are adding vertical stripes to our base roof. Here I'm keeping it simple with 2 types of blocks and thin stripes, but you can add multiple types and widths of blocks. Sometimes I like to change up the texture of these patterns with a combination of full blocks and stairs, and maybe some slabs. For these next few patterns, we're going to be working with gradients. This first one here is a splotch pattern, where you add big splotches of a different block to your base roof. And on the edge of your splotches, you'll add complementing blocks to help meld your 2 main blocks together. Try adding splotches of varying sizes to give your roof a little more character. For this next one, we will be working with the same gradient, but we will be working side to side. So you'll start on one side, have your complementing blocks, and your second main block on the other side. And this last one here, we're working from top to bottom, so one main block on the top and the other on the bottom, and your complementing blocks in between. I will be adding a link in the description to a website that can help you out with gradients if you need it. Now let's talk about tops. This first top is the one you've been seeing throughout the video. Here the peak of your roof is the same height as the last layer, and the ends are an upside down stair and a regular stair. For the next one, the peak and ends are raised by 1 block, and this peak can be raised as high as you need for your build. Also for this one, I used the same block as my main roof. This last one is similar, except we've replaced the peak blocks with a horizontal log. And just like this one over here, you can raise that one as high as you'd like. Maybe adding some of your main roof blocks underneath the log. Lastly, let's look at some details that we can add to the top of your roof. Starting here, this is similar to what we've been looking at the entire time, except for we've raised it up a couple of blocks. And you can add some other details on the top here, like some trapdoors or some slabs. Just kind of be creative with it. I usually just play around with it until I get a shape that I like. Now moving over here, we started off with something similar to the other roofs, but then we've added on a gate and a fence to the front. Now you can add some trapdoors to the top, and these types of things I like to put a lantern underneath and hang it from that fence. Now moving over here, for this one I took out the stair at the top, put a full block, a wall, and a fence, just to kind of give you a little bit of a spike. If you wanted it a little bit taller, you could also add an iron bar on the top of that fence. This last one here is probably one of my favorite shapes to add to the top of fantasy builds. By using stairs and slabs, we've got this nice hook shape. And this can be expanded upon to make a nice little spiral too. For the peak of your roof, you can do a ton of different things to add detail. Here are a few examples. This first one here is just stairs running along the top, and you can vary this by switching out for slabs, trapdoors, or maybe some fences. Here I've just put a row of alternating fences and gates. To change this up, you could switch out those gates for more fences, or add a fence on top of some of the blocks, or even add some trapdoors in between. This design here is similar to that other one, but we switched out the fences with walls, and added fences on top of those walls. You could also come in and replace the gates with fences as well. Here I've used a combination of full block, slabs, and trapdoors to create a nice sloping effect for the top of the roof. Now these are just a few examples of things that you can do with the top of your roof, but like I said earlier, there are endless things that you can do. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope this guide helps you along your building journey. I'll see you next time.